Hey, it's Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com. It's Tuesday, it's November 4th. This will be our chart lesson for today. Started out pretty much a trading range. We finally broke lower. Once we broke lower, I was looking for a measured move. This move right here would be your first, actually from here to here. Let's just go ahead and I'll show you how. You went from the high point to the low point of that move. And then we went from the high point to here. And so I was looking for a measured move to right there. And that's for the most part, that's exactly where we bounced right there. Um, but we continued to go lower, and so this was a little bit interesting here. You had a little break here, and so I was looking for this maybe to be the end of this. So this little second entry short was a little bit iffy here. There's plenty of room to get out before you get back down here, and it's right off the EMA. So you probably want to consider taking that. It's not a perfect setup, so I did draw it in green. Plus, we had the measured move already. There was a good chance we go higher from here, but it just continued to go lower. And so, I mean, this was a pretty strong sell-off. So not only we have a measured move, we had that move, and then I think we got pretty much a measured move from there. You can see we came up just a little bit short. So once we start down again, then you're looking for another possible leg that similar to something up here. And you might even just measure. Let's just see what happens if you measure this one and then from here. And you see we that basically got that, and then we made one more push lower. So different ways to get there, but it's amazing, just like right here, how it got right to the tick, and everybody's looking to buy before it goes lower again. So that's what this is what I saw. I saw two-tiered with most of the price action being in the lower half. And we did trade down into this, so it gave it a short bias. So until you really get some kind of trap or something, or until this proves to be really strong, you got to be um, you got to be careful about buying it there. Um, and then when we're working back down, you really could have bought here. It never really gave you a good setup, unfortunately. Notice how you got a nice. Well, it's kind of hard to see it there, but notice how you got a nice signal bar there, and right here you got an ugly one, and then by the time you get one, this one started to look pretty good. If you'd have went long right there, it would have worked, but you need a better setup than that, and you really need a second entry like you got right here. Notice that you got the first move, pull back, and so you got a second entry. You made a new low here, so this is still a first entry, and although it would have worked, it's just not a very good setup. So I didn't mark it, and it was a little bit iffy about going short right there. I really don't see a good way to get into that short, to be honest with you. So I just think unless you were already short and still riding this, I just don't see how you catch that. So I'll probably get some questions about that. But you'd rather miss a move like this than to chase one like one of these others that sets up similar to that and then be going the other direction on you. So, but let's talk about the trades. Again, it probably won't be a real long chart lesson. We'll move through it rather quickly, and it's a little bit late. I'm doing this a little bit late, and I've got to be somewhere else here shortly. So we'll go run through these trades and then call it a day. But anyway, we were working down. You can see the clear channel. You get the break, move to a new low. Um, you might have, if you were here, you probably would have wanted to take this trade, but it was a little bit before the 7 o'clock. It's slightly before 7. I wasn't in here yet, so the first opportunity I had to take a trade was right here. And this was very tempting, but you didn't have enough. You made a new low and you made another new low, so you didn't really have enough evidence to prove this out to be a range yet. You needed a little more evidence. So I didn't see a way to get in that. That's just a first entry right there. But then you get this failed second entry short and a chance to go long. Now I know somebody got trapped here. Somebody sent me something on a long where they got trapped. I think they got trapped here. Um, or maybe it was over here. Maybe it was this one right here, I'm thinking. Um, can't remember, and I've already deleted that email. I don't have time to go look for it. But anyway, let's get back to the trades here. Um, this was the first opportunity. Notice that you got a little channel working up, and it's looking rangy now. You've bounced here. It's starting to look like a range. You really don't have enough information here to go long on this one. Aggressive trader might go long right there. You might circle that in green. In fact, I'll go ahead and circle it in green because somebody that likes to buy strong support, because most of the time you're going to be right here. Most of the time you're going to get that right. Just like right here, if you want to be aggressive and buy that, you're going to get that right. And it's amazing how often, if you buy these lows, you'll be right. So um, I'm going to circle that one in green. Notice there's a double top, so you can count this as a new high. First entry, pullback. Second entry, it's a failed break lower. You've got a break of this channel and a new low. Several different reasons you might be aggressive and go long there. And then you're working up, and you can see that clear channel. You get a break here. So you don't really want to go short here because it's right in the middle of this somewhat of a trading range. But when you get that little break lower and it bounces right there and reverses again, I like that for a long chance to get, to scalp out before you get back to this high or this high. Turns out to be a good trade. You're really just sitting tight waiting on a trap, and you get one there. And I really like that. You might have thought about a limit order, which you could have gotten filled, I know, right at the high, maybe even a tick back into it. Uh, that was a nice trade. And I think this is where the trader got trapped to the long side. But look at all that resistance right there. And there's a first entry short, a pullback, another entry short. So it was tempting to go short right there. But it's not a very good signal bar, and you see when it broke lower, it didn't go very far. But when you get that failed second entry long, and that fails, that's a great place to go short. And you see how you can tell it traps people because look how fast it moved. But look at all that resistance across there. That's a dangerous place to be going long without enough room to scalp out right into those previous highs. In fact, you move that there across that double top, you see nothing's closed up there. It's just too dangerous to go long right there. So you're better off just to sit tight. If you did go long there, when it turns down, you know there's probably a trap. I don't know if I would have exited out of that having a loser there, but if you're just sitting on the sidelines, you got to take that trade hoping that we're coming back down to the low side of all those lows, and you see all those highs right there. It's very obvious. And so then you're moving down, you come down, you get you match that low again, but wait on the second entry, and then you need a pretty good signal bar, and look, you get it right there. So I like going long right there because it's obvious it's a range now. And then you get notice the new low, first entry pullback, and so there's a failed second entry short there, bounces right off what looks like a trend line up through there. So nice trap. And then you get and then notice that this green was this larger green line. I think that's the high from today. I don't think that's that's the high from the close. Yeah, so that would not have been there. So that's a little confusing seeing that in there this late. So you can see that it's coming into play. That level came into play again late, when the market reopened at 3:30 today. So that's interesting, but that was not there during the day. So you were more worried about the EMA and these lows here, and this line here would have been the low from the previous day. So that's an important part too. But just forget those. I know it looks a little cluttered and all, but then you're going up and you get that little double test of this area. Notice that bounce right. This was supposed to be green right here. There's enough reasons to ignore that trade. I decided to mark it green because there's a second entry long and there's that little double trap and it bounces right off the trend line, but it's right into that same high right there. And you see it found resistance before it pushed a little bit higher. And so there's enough reason to skip that trade. If you did enter it, I would say you got to let it break higher and pull back and enter, and you see that would have worked. And then see if you didn't push a little bit higher because there's no break of this trend line yet. Notice that little channel, there's no break yet. you don't get a break till here, and then you try to go higher twice and it fails, and you get that trap and another chance to go short. So I went back and forth over this one. Look at all that overlap. The more I look at that, you know, the more I'm thinking that, I mean, it's just right at the edge of being aggressive versus being too much congestion and just skipping the trade. Um, but I'm gonna leave it. I'll leave it green. So, but it's a real iffy trade. I'm just got to tell you. The only way to enter that is to enter way back here with let it break higher and then drop your limit order in here and hope it comes back, which it would have. You probably could have gotten filled back to at least right here, and then it goes higher. And if you did go long above that, 2009 and a quarter, it still worked. But I just think it's too risky because you see it was still finding resistance there. So now you get a failed breakout. It was tempting to go short there on the second entry, but it's not a very good signal bar again. And your signal bar is important unless it's a real strong trend. But then when it tries to go higher again and finds resistance right there again and turns down, now you got that trap, and it's almost identical pattern as to right here. It moves a little higher and this is a little lower, but it's still the same thing, a failed second entry long, and it's right at the highs of what was this trading range. So I like that. And again, you can see it trapped people. Look how fast it shot down. That's a sure sign that people got trapped. And then this is, once this broke lower here, it was pretty obvious people got trapped and they all had to start exiting. You know, you had to be thinking you might could get through here because of this first move and the fact that we couldn't get back up there, and we're finding, you know, a lot of resistance, and the overall bias at this point has a little bit of a downward slant. So this was a nice trade, and again, it was tempting to go long right there, but you don't get a signal bar, and by the time this bar finishes, it's, you know, you got all that stem up there, and I mean, you just got to stay out of that. It would have worked. You know, aggressive guys probably, like I said earlier, is probably going to take it because everything across there is bounced enough to get a scalp, except for that. This one would have failed if you'd have taken it, but you know, there's no reason yet to enter this. You're always better to wait on that second entry, um, and you don't get one here. You just don't get one. And then again, I didn't think there was enough reason to go short here. It's just by the time it starts to look bearish, you're way down here, and it's just really dangerous to go short right there. So I don't see any way to catch that one. It's just one you got to watch go without you, unless you were in from up here and still riding it down, and that's very unlikely as well. So, um, and then you get a two-legged pullback. You got a channel working here, and it's really obvious and pretty clear, and it may be just a little bit lower down through here. But it was kind of odd that you got a break here and it continued lower. It just got really weak. I guess once we broke lower, the sellers came in. So this one was a little iffy because you had the measured move down to right in here where that blue line is just the measured move that I showed you earlier on. You pull back, you get a first entry, you pull back and you get a second entry. The first bar is not very good. This looks a little more bearish, and you can see it adhering to the EMA and the trend line right there. Notice how it closes right inside there. So that's a little, you know, aggressive guy is probably going to risk that back down to test that low again. And then it looks like it's going to go higher. And that's why you wait on a second entry, because you get the first and then it goes lower and you get a first and it just keeps going. So, and I like this for a short because look at this new high. Pull back first entry, pull back second entry. Guaranteed they trapped a lot of people right there. And look at that. Just go short right there. And boom, that's one of the better trades of the day. Easy to spot and a really good move, and runners would have been safe on that one. And you're looking for this thing to reverse, but I don't think you really get a chance to reverse. You know, you'd want to look for this looks a little like a failed second entry short, and the fact that it broke lower there, you might have considered, but look how it's still staying inside that trend line. I just don't think you can go long yet. And then, you know, you draw your trend line right up through there, and now you're waiting on the setup. It's tempting to go long here, and if you did, it would have worked. You would have had to ride all this out. But I liked entering. There's a low, first entry pullback, and you get that little trap right there. So you wanted to enter there. And of course, your stop has to go below this double bottom. If you put your stop right here, there's a chance, and you see they did come back and stop it out. But when it turned down there again and went back up, and you see everything closing inside that trend line. So there's really two entries there. And hopefully if you entered on this one, which you got that little, there's your low and that little double failure test, and it goes higher. I really thought this thing would take off here, but it didn't. It pulled back one more time. And if you did put your stop one tick below that, you got stopped out. And if you did, it's just bad luck. There's nothing else you can say for it. I mean, it's not, there's reasons not to enter that trade, but there's enough trap there, and we're looking for a reversal anyway, that I liked entering there. I just think you have to put your stop. The swing low is really down here. So this is really where your stop has to go, and then you're taking a bigger risk that it could go lower there. So there's a possibility you might have got stopped out of this one. But if you did, when you see it go down and come back, you can't be scared to get back in it again. And off it goes. And then that's the move of the day, really. It takes off. And then again, look at those lows right there. There's one test. There's a failed second entry short. And boom, it goes up again. And there is a little overlap there, but you've got that little double test, and it's testing that. First this looks like the upper side of the channel, but all it is the midline in the end. Nice, easy move. And then you just wait for it to come back, and you're waiting for this to come back. This one should have been green. Forgot to go back and change some of them to the right color because we weren't really back to the trend line. And so it's a second entry, first entry, pullback, second entry. And if you did enter there, you might have gotten shaken out of that one, even though your stop never would have been triggered. But when you get the second entry there, and notice where that's bouncing again, that was our measured move. And you can notice there's some little gaps in there and things. I mean, you can tell that's an important area across there. So when it bounced off that again, I liked that one for a sure thing, because it's the reason it couldn't get quite back to the trend line after the fact was this area right across here is showed to be an important area of support and resistance. And it goes higher. And this one, and again, this one is like borderline being blue and being green. I'm much more comfortable with you taking this one because it's that second entry again. And you got two legs back, and you're looking for something to happen right along this area right here. It's a little bit early, and again, it turned out to be a great move. And that was the last thing. That got you into, there weren't any more entries in here until way over here. That gets you to almost 2 o'clock. I didn't mark anything after that. So that's what I saw today. Some of these were real straightforward. Some of them weren't so straightforward. And you just have to be patient. And even but sometimes you just have to be patient and wait, and but you have to have an understanding of what prices are doing, and on this one, the best move right here might be just to leave that one lavender, just like we did this one up here. And you're looking for prices to come back and make a new low, but you just never really get a setup there. It's too much overlap and stuff like that. And really looking at that one, there is a nice trap there, but it's almost like it trapped and went higher, and then it's like a double trap almost. So it might, and those are real powerful, and you can see it was once it started going. It was a pretty powerful move. So that one could go either way, but that's what I saw today. This is a clear two-tiered channel working up through here with a nice midline in it, and this one's pretty obvious coming down, except you had the break here, and if you look at it, you really had two measured legs down with that one more. They always usually, when it's that bearish, they will usually make an extra push lower. then a measured move, you'll get your 2 legs down. Remember, we measured that one from here to here, and then you get your 2 legs, and then that was the same measurement from here to here, and then you get that one more little push down, and that's pretty common a lot of times on a big move. And that's a pretty big move down considering we came out of that tight range right there. So, and if you measure this right here, I didn't measure this because, but let's just measure that. And you know, and there's another measurement that you're possibly looking for, and you see that got you pretty close to the lows as well. Although once, you know, the real measured move was here to here, this leg, and then here to here, right where we bounced. And that became an important level the rest of the day. It acted as support and resistance a couple more times that day. So good stuff there. And I mean, this has been really much more typical price action the last 2 days compared to what was going on right before I left. You know, before I had my extended stay out due to, you know, the passing of my father or whatever. So, but anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. I got to get out of here today. I apologize. This is a little bit late. Hopefully people aren't worried that I've disappeared again. But no, just a lot of catching up to do from all the things that have been going on. And then I've got some other projects going as well that I'm having to manage. So it's been, my life has been pretty hectic the last couple of weeks, and probably will continue to be for, you know, another extended couple of weeks here. So just bear with me, and I'm not going anywhere. I love what I do here, so it's part of my life, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. So no worries that I'm going to disappear. And I always try to put updates on my website. If you go to the website, there's 3 different locations you can go to find information, and there's one tab that's free posts. There's one that's the daily, the midday chart post, and there's another one that's the premium, which is the stuff that you got to pay to see that. But there's always a section where there's free stuff, and if I'm going to be away or something's going on, I will always put something there, assuming that I'm able to put it there. You know, so if something happened to me and I'm not able to put it there, then obviously I wouldn't do that. But there's generally there will be updates as to what's going on. If you're wondering where I am, just go to the website and click on the free post, and that's where I put anything for the general public to see. And there's other, and just in case you didn't know this, there's tons of articles and videos that are free on our website that you can go look at anytime. So there's good stuff there. Don't think there's not. I mean, the premium section is, you know, fairly new. We've only been doing it for maybe a year, and there are some really good videos, lessons in there that you won't get anywhere else. But it doesn't mean that there's not some really good stuff that goes over everything we do in the free section as well. So feel free to use that. I mean, you know, don't think that you have to pay to get any more use out of our website, because that's not necessarily the case. There's plenty of free stuff there that if you want to dig through it, you know, you can spend a couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks watching stuff all day just in the free section. So seems like a lot of people don't realize that's there, but it is. So I thought I would mention it. So I'm going to wrap it up. This is Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.